the question by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah on the blue economy. And I want to combine it with maritime affairs. And I like the fact that you particularly picked on the job opportunities. Mr. Speaker, this ministry is a wealth creation ministry. This ministry is a great employment creation ministry. Now, just to give you some statistics, today, the global demand on seafarers is almost at 1.9 million. We in Kenya are contributing barely 0.2%. So out of, basically what I'm saying is that out of the 1.9 million, we have just about 4,000 Kenyans that are getting into the industry by way of employment. Now, what are we going to do to change that? Number one, we must redesign our training program to fit into the demand of that opportunity. And I know there's quite some work that was done previously and continues to be done, but we may need to have a conversation. And if approved, I'm going to be running back quickly to this august house to engage honorable members on realigning the policies around training to be able to fit the demands. And I pick particular example. If you train someone to board a vessel, how you earn or how you get opportunity to be employed is almost similar to that of a pilot. So even as we see today, we have probably a good standard of training issued or undertaken at the Bandari Maritime Academy. But Mr. Speaker, everybody that graduates from Bandari Academy does not automatically qualify to get a job because they don't have something called sea time. They don't have sea time. They have no avenues to get sea time. So that for me is a matter of urgent intervention to ensure we combine our training with sea time, even if it's just basic. Nobody will employ you if you have never been on board a sea. So that is one area of policy realignment that I'm going to have to engage this honorable house. The other important area, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the statistics today, countries like Liberia are carrying 100 or plus more folds of their flag in vessels. We in Kenya, we're just about 5. From what I've heard from private sector, I've engaged the shipping industry, and I have been told, Mr. Speaker, the vessels that are carrying our flag are just about 5. What this therefore means is that our young people cannot get an opportunity because there is no level playing field. What do we need to do? Look at the policies. What is Liberia doing that is right that we can't do? What is it? Because we have so many vessels calling into our ships. What a local flag means, Your Excellency, is that the revenues generated, first of all, from the vessel will land in Kenya. Priority in terms of job opportunities will be for Kenyans. And opportunities to even design some internship program for attaining sea time. It is easier to take to Kenyan companies, and I'm going to do that. I think, Mr. Speaker, and I'm clear about it. Let me say I'm clear about it. If you approve my nomination, I will hit the ground running. It certainly shall not be business as usual. It will not, because I see. And by the way, Mr. Speaker, so that I give you the context on how and why it is urgent that we quickly realign policies that conform to the needs. It is because seafarer, by all standards, qualifies to be a prestigious job. There's no seafarer, at whatever cadre, there's nobody who earns less than $1,000. So, Mr. Speaker, I'll quickly run. The other question is on the fishing folk, and Mr. Junet, Honorable Junet, talked particularly on the lake areas, and I'm imagining he's looked at the demography well, because I was just looking at some statistics. And I looked lake areas from Muhuru Bay, you pass Siaya into Soiport, Seoport in Busia. And the numbers that are produced, nothing justifies that our neighboring countries are processing more. Understood that they may have a lot of, the area might be wider, but they're processing 100-folds more, particularly for export. What do we need to do? And I've seen this problem, for example, in the fisher folk and artisan fishermen in the coastal region, from Kiunga to Lunga. And government has put some effort. Let me just acknowledge. Government so far has given boats and some storage facility. And they're building landing sites that are some complete and some yet to be complete. But that alone doesn't solve the issue. There is the issue of capacity building. These fisher folks, these artisan fishermen and women should be trained. Should be trained in how many fronts? One, processing, basic business skills, storage, and value addition. Mr. Speaker, growing up in Mombasa, I used to see a company that used to be called Wananchi Marine. That company was employing on a daily basis not less than 3,000 women to do fish processing. But as we sit here today, Mr. Speaker, there is no single factory that I can directly point at that does the same. And it's going to be my business. Number one, to create a lucrative environment for investment. You have to combine private sector investment, government support, and people's participation. And idea number one is, for example, if we want to help the fisher folks and fishermen generally, we must develop strategy like creating collection points. And I tell you, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, why I say that, because one boat goes out, comes with possibly 20 kilos, and they are likely to be possibly around maybe 100 boats of such capacity. But everyone who comes, don't call it into the same landing site. What do? They find means to buy ice blocks and store. But imagine if we put them in a cooperative, manage them and organize them, train them. You arrange collection points. Why we don't export our fish very well is because we don't consolidate it. We don't consolidate our catch. So for me, I should have a truck picking from Kiunga into Owen Bay's constituency, Owen Bay's into Mombasa, into Kweli and Shimoni. Consolidate it so we bring adequate catch that will qualify for even export market. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ichung'wah talked about on restoration programs of quarries. There is a law in place